Well, hello, friends.
Is it the cat noise? Is that what you're laughing at?
Yes, I was laughing at the cat noise.
Yeah, the little cat just over there munching away. We're trying to be quiet.
I was thinking, without the visual of the cat actually eating, that sounds really gross.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Hey, Chace.
Hey, Hunter.
Guest today.
We have a guest.
Danny.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Also, we're in a new studio. Probably for good.
Probably not for good.
Probably for good.
This is probably a one of.
It's very well insulated and warm, and
It's going to be really hard for me to not smoke a bunch of cigarettes, which should make it easier for me to talk about health and fitness.
Right.
But, I was thinking about that the other day. How fucking because I was going off on body positivity movement and stuff like that, and health advice, this and that. And, I'm chain smoking the whole time. I was like, that's
I mean, that's a whole other can of worms.
It's a bad look. That is a whole other can of worms.
Right. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
Well, I mean, I would have a hard time taking health advice from somebody eating, some McDonald's food. You know?
Well, I understand
so I would think
that.
It would be equally
obnoxious.
Depends.
What does that person eating the McDonald's food look like? If Jeff Cavalier was eating a Big Mac and
Jeff Cavalier would never eat a Big Mac.
He wouldn't.
He hasn't had a Big Mac since '82.
But this is a hypothetical.
If I saw
what about Iron Lou?
Iron Lou, if I saw him eating a Big Mac, I would take any health advice he would tell me.
Right?
He's in jail right now.
God, that bums me out.
Or was recently. I don't know if he still is.
It bums me out so much. I hate that he probably did that.
He's just getting stronger.
Right?
He's just getting stronger.
He's in a new training arc.
Mm-hmm. This is part of his character development.
Right on. So.
That is not a cigarette.
It's not.
That's killing me.
We're coming up on the new year. You doing New Year, New You? Either of y'all?
I started New Me midway through this year.
Right on.
And it made me a lot happier because I started accepting myself for what I was instead of worrying what everybody else thought about me.
Before we get into that, I thought about this, and I wanted to do I was going to say, I'm Hunter, pronouns he, him. One thing I want to change about myself this coming year is I want to quit smoking.
That's a good goal.
I don't think I can either, but I'm going to try.
I'm going to doubt you the whole way.
We can quit together, and we can hold each other accountable.
I don't like being held accountable.
He does.
That's not one of my strong suits.
It starts at the D&D sessions. You got to smoke less.
Holy shit!
You chain smoke so bad at D&D.
It
makes me want to chain smoke.
It's just in public like in social settings. I'm just a chain smoker.
It's always
my fucking legs
right?
going.
This is a social setting right now because it's more than just you.
Yeah, I want a cigarette really bad.
Right. Well, that was more than I was expecting. I was talking about very shallow shit. I need to tighten up on my nutrition.
Well, that's a thing.
Yeah, but that's pretty fucking shallow. Not that I just
quitting smoking is pretty shallow.
Kind of, but I don't know. It's a lot more shallow than accepting yourself, which I have the benefit of not having to worry about things like that.
That's privilege.
That is privilege.
And a lot of people don't realize that that's privilege, but that's privilege. I grew up in a very closed-minded household, unfortunately. Now, my parents have come around a lot since I've come out. So, you did the pronouns. My name is Danny. I changed it earlier this year. I am non-binary transmasculine, which means I use they, them, and he, him pronouns. I prefer he, him, but I will take they, them if people use it when they're referring to me.
Do you think, would it be simpler if you were just I'm a dude?
I mean, yeah, it would be, but I don't feel like I'm a dude all the time. Non-binary, gender fluid, non-gender conforming.
Yeah, but okay. It's the non-binary transmasculine, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot to fucking say, though.
It is, but it's not everybody's business. I tell people my name, and I tell them I use he pronouns, and that's the end of it most of the time.
Right.
But you guys specifically asked for people that were non-binary to come on the show, and that's why I offered up.
To be fair, the only reason that we were asking for non-binary people to look at the podcast is so I could get a Spotify statistic to fill up.
Which I tried to find the podcast on Spotify, and I can't find it.
Oh, it's there. We have numbers. And they better not be hiding non-binaries from us, or I'm going to be pissed.
Well, if you send me a link to the Spotify account, I will listen to it, and Mac will listen to it.
I'm going to do it. But not that I don't care about any of that, but it genuinely comes from a selfish place of just wanting to have that number go up, because my monkey brain just likes it when numbers go up.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not to disregard anything. But that's like the first place it comes from. Second is like, this will make for incredible topic to talk about, because I don't know fuck all about any of this. Also,
that's where I'm at.
Chace is he, him. The other thing, since we talked about this on another podcast, because we were so confused by the they, them pronouns.
Okay.
Is that more for people who consider themselves fluid, or how does that work? Because the only thing that registers in my brain when I hear that is that
a group of people.
A group of people.
See, but it's more common than that. It's way more common than that. Even in the English language, when you're writing out sentences, if you're composing an essay of some kind, you might refer to someone as they and not even realize that you do it. And then they threw the ball. It's way more common than people realize that it is. And when people start thinking it only refers to a group of people, that's where they start confusing themselves. So they, them has always existed. It's just being brought more to the light now because it's on that level of, I'm non-binary. I don't want to go by he, him, or she, her. I want to go by they, them. And a lot of people who I know who are non-binary sometimes don't even have pronouns. They just want to be referred to as their name all the time.
Like The Rock.
Yeah, like The Rock.
Did they get... and you're going to have to bear with me, probably you too. Because we're probably going to ask some stupid, maybe condescending sounding questions.
I mean, that's why I'm here, just to help clear all that up.
Does that not make them come off seeming kind of cunty, wanting to be referred to in the third person?
I mean, I can see why you would think that, but really it's just for the comfort of themselves. I
mean, I get what you mean, but for me, it seems like that would be hard for people to, it would be hard for me to get used to. And I just assume that that's a hard thing for people to adjust to without having some type of snark.
Well, a lot of times people who go by just their names usually don't have very large circles of people.
That's fair. That's probably true.
A lot of transgender and non-binary people keep small circles because of the dangers that exist out in the real world for people who are trans. And there's a lot of trans people that'll never come out of the closet because of it. I wasn't ever going to come out of the closet, and it's because when I sat my mom down when I was 19 and I told her I liked females, she said, "Oh, thank God that you're just gay, because if you were transgender, I don't know what I would do." And that just pushed me. It just pushed me so further into the closet, because I was going to come out to her that day, and I didn't come out, and now I'm 26.
Right, you were trying to...
I didn't come out until this year.
You were trying to ease her into it and then take the next step, and she just shut the door on that real fast.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's a tough one.
See, that's something I was thinking about earlier today, which you already mentioned it, saying things like, I know who I am and I don't have to deal with things like that and how it's privilege. And I understand that it's privilege. I went through that whole period when a few years ago, when that word became very like a buzzword, and just thinking that how am I privileged? I'm a fucking poor person from the middle of nowhere, blah, 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 blah. But I've come around on it now.
But the sad thing is, privileges exist even within the LGBTQ community. Just like how there's colorism with people of color, how sometimes light-skinned people think they're better than the real dark-skinned. There's also privilege within the LGBTQ community, like lesbians, because they're considered sexy and hot, and a lot of times they are accepted a lot faster than their fellow gay male,
right,
or even the transgender. Like, the amount of hate crimes that take place in America is just an absolute ridiculous number, which I actually did research on that stuff today.
I was going to say that Dave Chappelle has a really good explanation of that in one of his stand-ups, because he's talking about everyone in that group is in the car. Mm-hmm. And they're talking about who's driving the car is...
I think whether that's a good explanation or not is really...
Maybe it's not a good analogy.
That's a wildly subjective thing.
I say it's good. I think it's maybe it's easy to understand. It may be pretty crass, but he says that, okay, because he called, he says he has very rough language with this too, but he's known for saying like the alphabet people.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
The G's are driving the car.
Is that bad?
But the G's are driving
the alphabet.
I've never heard of it being referred to as bad.
Well, the LGBT, like I was cool with like LGBT, like I was hip on that, and then they started adding more shit, and then they started squaring some of them, and I was just like, just alphabet, like that's just way fucking easier.
It's like I even have a hard time with that. And I am
moves all the time.
Yeah.
In the LGBTQ community, I have a hard time with that. I used to be a part of which they don't exist anymore, but there was a nonprofit organization that was on the up and up in Texarkana, and it was called Texarkana Pride. And I was a part of that. I was actually one of the board members. And when I was going through my divorce with my ex-wife, I stepped down from the group and just like walked away from it. And they wound up falling apart a little while after that. But from what they told me, it's like LGBTQP+.
See, I didn't even know there was a P. I knew that last I heard there was LGBTQ+.
So it's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender,
Q is queer.
polyamorous. Yeah, and then the Q is queer. The P is like for polyamorous people. So a lot of polyamorous groups identify with the LGBTQ community now.
What's the plus for?
The plus is just like non-gender conforming, non-binary,
etc.
It's the etceteras. Because there's so many just like me.
There's a lot.
Perfect example.
There's a lot listed before the plus.
Before you get too far, I was just going to say, like you were saying, that there's a privilege within that community. And the thing I was saying about Dave Chappelle saying that is the reason the G's are driving that car that everybody's in is because there's old white guys in that group.
Oh, okay.
And that's why he would say like, hey, we're going to lead us down this road because we know the path.
Right. We know the way.
I mean, that's his example for that, which makes sense a little bit.
Well, yeah, old white men been getting their way for a long time. Yeah. They know how to do it.
But I'm sorry.
That's okay. I don't know what all kind of questions you guys have to ask. I've prepared some statistics and...
Well, the biggest question I think we had at the start was really the pronoun thing and not getting that because it was so mystifying. But now that you say that, it's like, yeah, I've totally heard people use they in referring to a single person. I've also know that there's certain ways that you use that for like in what they call like the royal sense, like we. Mm-hmm. As in referring to yourself as we. That's more of something that ends up in other languages more often than English, I think. But, yeah, I was mainly confused by that. Other than that, it's like, fuck, I don't even know enough to ask real questions, to be honest.
the they, them doesn't really, like that was a bit, like you said, like that was a bit mystifying for me. But it's never really, like I haven't been plagued by this. Like I don't give a shit. I'll call you a fucking toaster oven if you want me to. I'm not trying to be a dick.
Yeah, it's just something that was always prickly. When it would come up, it always set off this prick in my brain, like what is that?
What?
And then it would
you are Legion.
That was like what? Like how did you become Legion? When you
I want some of that. I want some of that.
And that's all I had in my brain. And it would go away, and it would come back every time I would hear it every once in a while. Other than that, it's like, sheesh. I don't know.
The made up pronouns get to me a little bit, like the za da. Like I don't know how common that is, but I heard za da. I don't even fucking know where. That's how uncommon it is.
Are you talking about like the X's that people put on their paperwork?
No, it was literally like za z-a and da d-a, like pronouns za.
I haven't even heard that before.
Yeah, and I was like, the fuck? Like
now I've heard of like the X
just being silly.
And the XA, and people will put that on paperwork when they're filling out, and it means like non-binary, or they'll put NB, which means like non-binary.
I get NB, but the XA and
it's just like because there's no existence of a gender
XA?
For them.
Wouldn't it just be XX or just a single slash mark through that?
I have no clue. That's getting into stuff that I don't understand yet either. Now, I can ask one of my friends about it, but he's probably not going to message back during this podcast.
Right.
He lives in Sacramento. He actually listened to y'all's podcast today when I sent it to him, the one that...
Poor bastard.
Now, he thought it was
so
funny.
Sorry,
he thought that you guys were really respectful. He said that you just seem confused and want to be educated, but you didn't really say anything
I think
that offended him.
That's the thing. There is confusion, and there is definitely a desire to be educated. Like, I want to know. I'm genuinely curious. I don't want to go around and be a dick.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how I'm wired, you know?
And unfortunately, not the entire world thinks like that. Some of them will refuse to, like the Caitlyn Jenner thing that we were talking about the other night when we had the bonfire. And, you know, one of the people at the bonfire kept calling Caitlyn Jenner Bruce Jenner. And that's, I mean, no matter how much you hate Caitlyn Jenner, because I hate Caitlyn Jenner.
It might have been me.
No. That's just, it's considered disrespectful.
Well, yeah, it's dead naming, right?
Yeah, dead naming is
swoosh
disrespectful to a lot of people in the LGBTQ community. Like,
you get an LGBT coupon.
I get points. We need a scoreboard here. Like, tracking our points.
They're like Chuck E. Cheese. No, God, I don't want to say that. It sounds so disrespectful.
You get to pick a ring.
No, I was going to say it's like
of the
Chuck E.
LGBT.
Cheese.
You earned 600 LGBTQ points.
See, it's stuff like that that feels like it sounds kind of funny, but I don't mean anything by it. But God, it probably seems really disrespectful.
I mean, unfortunately, we live in an area where it's very close-minded.
The bar is so low.
Even gay and transgender people in this area crack jokes that they shouldn't.
Oh, we know.
Now, if you go, like, where my friend Max from, like, in California, there's a people that are a lot stricter about that kind of stuff.
They'll beat us up.
I mean, eventually, the entire nation will probably be that way. And it's kind of headed that way now.
Does that seem... Because from outside looking in, like, from my perspective, it seems like... It's a community that is easily outraged and offended. And I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I think this is probably just a squeaky wheel on, you know...
vocal minority.
Yeah.
Something like that. Or just what gets passed around so people that don't care about that community can just dismiss them as a bunch of like, oh, you're like a bunch of crybaby bitches. Look at this. Oh, fuck, get over it. You don't have real problems.
The snowflake shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is what it is so there's this thing, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, called the Overton window, and it has to do with politics. Mm-mm. And the Overton window is like, if you are exposed to this over and over and over, the next thing doesn't seem as serious.
Right. So it's just like exposure therapy or something like that.
Like kind of. Like that's how things become normal, is when enough people do it for long enough. And then it's normal.
Oh, so you invented the Overton window.
I discovered it. And I named it...
Let's put that on the list of things that
I need money for that.
You need to check.
Like, the Overton window gets shifted a lot back and forth depending on who's president. It is a political term, but it's an example. Like, back when Trump first took office...
I was just about to say, that's a prime example. Go ahead.
Back when he first took office, that's when the Overton window started to shift, and it's the amount of hate and stuff that is just pronounced out loud, and the media covers it, and it's all over Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. It's just the number of people that step forward and like, no, we're against this. It jumped when Trump took office.
Like the social norm shifted to where it was now more, it was okay to be a fucking shithead.
Yeah. And now it's more accepted for people to
like
just straight up be dicks to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's just mean to each other. And the LGBTQ community, we got our rights in 2016 under Obama, and then Trump takes office, and now he's trying to take those rights away.
Yeah, how is that happening?
Yeah, see, that's something that like I hear people say, but I don't like. You know, I don't have a dog in that fight, so I don't delve into it.
It's just delve into any of that shit.
You know, it's just something that grazes my ears on occasion.
While he's been in office, he's been slowly replacing people in different areas of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Of the political aspect. Like the Supreme Court, what is her name that passed away?
RGB.
Yeah, RGB. Yeah, she passed away. I couldn't think of her name.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she passed away, and he promoted someone to Supreme Court that has anti-LGBTQ. And when those rights were passed back in 2016, when the right for gay marriage and stuff and the Human Rights Acts and stuff got passed, it was a swing vote.
Right.
So now they're wanting to, now that it's a majority the other way, they're trying to re-bring these cases and bills back to the Senate back to the Supreme Court so that they can reverse the decisions that were originally made. And that's what they're attempting to do. They're actually trying to strip gay Americans of their right to get married.
Right, because straight Americans have really honored that institution.
Yeah.
They've put it up. It's a very holy and sacred act.
Yeah, if it's not just straight people cheating on each other and getting divorces and shit, then it's a joke.
But it also goes deeper than that. The Human Rights Act that was passed in 2016, it made a lot of discrimination in the workplace and with insurance companies. A lot of insurance companies before 2016, like when me and my ex-wife got married, we weren't immediately able to get me on the health coverage that she had through her work because it was a gay marriage, and a lot of places,
quote unquote, not real marriage or something.
Exactly,
like that.
And a lot of companies, jobs, insurance companies, hospitals, they would just refuse to help LGBTQ people. And it still happens to this day, but it's not as bad, and there's legal consequences. They're trying to strip those legal consequences away to where if I broke my arm and I went to the hospital and the doctor, he's against the gays, he could literally decide not to treat me.
Well, that's fucked. That's pretty fucked.
Which is really fucked, and it does happen, though.
Oh, I'm sure it does. But I mean, at the end, because all they're going to say is, well, this person doesn't take their health seriously or something like that, and then they like, oh, I don't care. It's not about their sexual orientation or any of that. Well, I'm a doctor.
Liability.
I'm a doctor. I've been to school for so long. Of course, I'm not biased in any way. But I can definitely see how they can bullshit their way into getting something like that.
And then there's also So Mike Pence, the vice president, he believes in conversion therapy. Do you know what that is?
Is that pray away the gay? Is that like
at one point he did?
Is that pray the gay away?
Pray the gay away.
It gets a little worse than that. I believe there's shock therapy going on.
Shock therapy, yes.
Like
we're getting into some 40K conversion shit.
Some crazy Nazi scientist shit. Where they're
and that kind of stuff still happens in some parts of America.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
It happens in America.
Oh, I don't
doubt it. It causes depression in the LGBTQ youth. And
fuck yeah. I would fucking imagine.
Yeah, when you're I can imagine being a child and not feeling like, oh yeah, I feel like this isn't right, and then your parents screaming at you that like you're broken and we're gonna fix you. Like,
and
yeah,
we're gonna take you to this weird camp where you're gonna get shoved and shit.
Well, it affects statistically in a different way than you'd think it would too. Like the amount of teen LGBTQ members that commit suicide is 3 times higher than the average heterosexual youth member.
Oh yeah, because
it's like 1 in here. I actually pulled it up.
I don't doubt it because I mean in most people's eyes it's okay to make fun of them.
Right.
I mean that's the way a lot of people view it.
Between 5 and 10% of LGBTQ youth, depending on their age and sex groups, will or have attempted suicide.
Wait, what now? Say
I'm sorry. We got lost on something else. Please repeat it.
Between 5 and 10% of LGBTQ youth, depending on age and sex groups, have attempted suicide, a rate that is 3 times higher than heterosexual youth. So that's 10%. That's 1 in 10 people that identify as LGBTQ will attempt suicide at some point in their lifetime.
That's a
big
bleak
number.
Reality. Yeah.
It's a big fucking number.
A big number.
And then the amount of reported hate crimes in America that were last year for 2019. Now, these are the reported cases. Not every case.
Right.
It's just like with everything else that exists within the law.
Probably most cases don't get reported.
Most cases don't get reported. But last year, the ones that were reported was 1,042. And that's just what was recorded. there's stuff that doesn't get recorded that's hate crimes that happens every day, especially in big cities. I've seen interviews and stories of like people just ride on the subway and getting the shit just beat out of them just because they're gay.
Yeah, I know people like to think that stuff like that doesn't happen anymore, but I wouldn't doubt that it does.
Well, even just, what is it, 2020? I mean, in 2003, it was still illegal in Texas to be gay. They could drag you out of your house and take you to jail for it.
That's fucking...
I did not know that.
That's nuts.
That's the bleak reality that it is, though. And people are uneducated about it. They don't understand. When the LGBT community is up in arms all the time, why they're mad is because this is stuff that we are just now getting over.
Right.
And it's stuff that they're trying to push us back in these boxes.
Yeah. But fuck. I did not know that.
Yeah, I might be screaming to the heavens.
Right.
Also, I might be a snowflake.
And it's the people like me and my friends that are transgender and gay that come out, and we speak up for those kids at home that's parents will never accept them. We want them to realize that even if you don't get accepted, there are people out there that will accept you. And there's families of people that will take you in. Like the Trevor Project is one of my absolute favorite non-charitable, like nonprofit organizations that exist. The Trevor Project strictly takes donations from people and they help get the LGBTQ youth that are homeless off the streets. So the number
offers resources and stuff to
resources, homes, halfway houses. It's really big in large cities. Like I know it exists in New York City and Chicago and places like that, like these big cities. The amount of homeless people that there are, like if you take the percentage of just the youth side of it, it's, which I have it pulled up here also. 40% of the homeless youth population is LGBTQ.
Why?
I would imagine they get kicked out.
A lot of them get kicked out or they run away because their parents will never accept them.
Right. Yeah.
Some situations it even goes as serious as if my parents found out I was gay, they would kill me. My dad is that homophobic. He would kill me.
Right.
That's the unfortunate truth, but that's what these kids go through, and that's why they end up on the streets.
That would be one of those situations where if you were in that group and regular homeless, you're just kind of privileged.
Right. Well, I think
and
that's the sad part is that's true because the Salvation Army won't help gay people.
Yeah, I think I
remember. And it's not talked about.
I feel like I've heard that before, but I'm not positive.
I have been turned away from the Salvation Army before when I went to try to get furniture tickets when me and my ex-wife were together. We were trying to furnish our home and we were low income at that time, which we came out of that tax bracket eventually, but they turned us away because we were a gay couple.
I didn't even know there was a thing like that. I thought the Salvation Army was just you went to their store and got stuff for quote-unquote cheaper. Other than Toys for Tots, I didn't know they'd had any other.
Well, the Salvation Army does more than just like have the.
They don't do a lot in this area because it's a small area, but in big cities they have like homeless shelters and all kinds of stuff.
They've got a shelter downtown Texas.
The Randy Sam shelter.
Do you ever feel like you'd rather move to somewhere that's more accepting, or would you rather dig in and try to make change?
I was about to say, but if you do that, doesn't it feel like running?
Well, that's what I'm curious about.
Like that's
I could see the attraction to move to like my girlfriend was originally from Portland, and she tells me about how people are much more open over there. So you see people that are transgender.
It's an easier life.
There's a transgender, I believe, female to male that her friend that helped her move down here, and so she knows plenty of people like that from back where she's from, and it's pretty common. But and so it's a lot more accepted. Is there an attraction there to move away somewhere where you'll have a little less worry, or do you feel like you should stay and try to make things better for people that are here?
Unfortunately, if I had the choice, I would move away. And that's just because I have a lot of history in the LGBTQ community here that's not good. Even people who are LGBTQ make mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
I've made mistakes, and because of that, I've lost a lot of friendships in town with people that were LGBTQ, and I just don't have enough people that I could gather to make attraction. to start change. It would be mute.
What kind of change would you like to see?
I mean, for sure, I would like to see more gay couples out in public. One of the biggest things is that I know a lot of gay people in town, and I am friends with a lot of gay people in town. And even when they go out in public, they don't hold hands and they don't present as a gay couple. And a lot of it has to do with the blowback that you get in Texarkana. When me and my ex-wife were together, when we'd walk around like the mall and stuff, people would stare at us. We had people say stuff to us.
The gay F word.
Yeah.
Dude, I believe like everything's making progress and stuff, but it's just I've noticed like that. Like Texarkana is not. It's not like openly hostile, but it's not terribly friendly.
No, it's not.
So it's I don't know. Like
it feels. Well, I mean, I feel like most places. I feel like it's being dragged, kicking and screaming.
Well, like I am a straight dude. So I'm a straight dude that worked 10 years in a very blue collar industry, and so I was privy to the comments and jokes and just the talk. And, like, not friendly. Like, not outright hostile, but not friendly. Definitely condescending. Just... Like, I get that. That sucks.
I hear a lot of that, too. And I like to think that a bunch of my friends that work and stuff like that and have those opinions. Like, there's nothing about them that I feel like that they just hate someone because they live a different life than them.
I mean, I've had managers at jobs openly tell me they did not like me because I was gay.
I mean, I don't.
That's happened here in Texarkana.
But I'm also.
I quit that job.
But I'm just.
More casual.
Like I said, I like to think. I really want to think that they, they don't hate someone just because they're gay or just because they identify as something else.
Right.
But I mean, maybe they do, and maybe they need to work through it. I don't know. Maybe they don't want to. I don't know.
I think that's the thing is a lot of people just don't want to. Like it's shit that I'm working through now. Not really a hate aspect, but just more like understanding and.
I used to have much more coarse opinions myself. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I guess that like trying to refine my opinion, my thought process towards the whole thing, like which I think can really only come with perspective and trying to understand.
A lot of times it doesn't hit people until it's in their own homes or their own family groups,
right? And
a lot of times people are unwilling to even look at how LGBTQ people are perceived until it's unfortunately them or someone they love.
Well, it's like it's not even a consideration, like just don't ever think about it.
Yeah.
I don't know, like I think about I guess like police cruelty towards like the black community and stuff like that. And it's like until George Floyd happened, like it wasn't something I ever even really thought about. Like I heard about it all the time, but I mean, it just didn't really. But like when George Floyd happened, like it's there, it's in your face.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, now I can't.
See, and that's another thing is a lot of people that are LGBTQ support the Black Lives Movements Matter.
Well, yeah.
I've been on that train since like 2015, since before it blew up all over America.
I'd imagine it's sort of like a strength.
That was when it first really came. There was that guy in, I think, Baton Rouge, and there was a guy in Minnesota. What was his name? Like Philandro Castile or something like that.
Something like that.
I think it was in Minnesota. That was the first time I ever heard that movement come up.
Yeah.
Was when, because I think both of those happened within like a week of each other or something like that. But...
Well, a lot of it is that we're all in this boat together. Like, we're all minorities, and we all just kind of help each other out. And
well, even not, like, the way I think about it is even if you're not a minority, like I'm cisgendered straight white dude. Like, it doesn't get any more majority than that. And, but why would I not want to pitch in with everybody else? Like, we are all here together.
See, and the unfortunate side of it is that I can say whatever I want to as a transgender person in America. It's until people like you guys step up who have voices that people are willing to listen to. The cis white head. But no, I'm just using you guys as an example.
In general, yeah, I get it.
Just cis white males that are up there until they start saying this stuff needs to change, people aren't going to listen to it.
Right.
It's just unfortunate that's the way that America's set up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least you're willing to have like a realistic perspective on that and be like, this is, because what it does is it makes you like adjust like reasonable goals. Like, this is what we need to do to accomplish this. This is who we need saying that, you know. But I guess that's also probably the largest opposition to the LGBTQ.
It
is cisgendered white heterosexual males.
And it is. A lot of the hate that I received growing up was from that category.
Yep.
Most of it came from that category. And what's really funny is some of the people that bullied me in middle school and high school for being like part of the LGBTQ community are now part of the LGBT community.
Right.
And that goes back to that whole kids pick on what they don't understand.
Right.
And a lot of it, which one of the reasons I didn't come out until I was, 25, 26 years old as transgender is because I have internalized transphobia that I have to work through to accept myself for who I am because it was drilled into me as a kid that that's not normal.
So there's like self-loathing that gets instilled. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. But that's exactly what happens is a lot of, and I have friends that even one of them, like she's cis, white, female, been with a man. She likes females, but she's so scared to date a female because of her internalized homophobia that she's never dated a female before. But she likes females and finds them attractive. Yeah. It's what's beat into you when you're growing up. And only a few people turn against what they've been taught growing up. Which you see it a lot more in like Generation Z now. Generation Z, they're the ones that are going to really make a difference. I hate to put it that way because I'm a millennial, but they're the ones that have come out swinging and like Conan Gray.
I like to think that millennials did some fucking work. I mean,
millennials
gay marriage
paved the path.
Was like same-sex marriage was that was a goddamn milestone.
Oh yeah, it was.
That was fucking huge.
I mean, millennials.
If there's one thing I could point to in like Obama's, presidency. Like he did that.
Yeah.
Like no matter what else you got to say about him, he did that. Like that's a hell of a fucking thing. That was awesome.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Because I interrupt a lot.
It's okay.
He does.
Too.
He's a real piece of shit.
That's me.
Do you ever see people that maybe they're not genuine, or maybe they do they want to say that they're maybe not gay. I'm sure that happens too, but more of the transgender issues, like saying like they identify as something else for attention.
I mean, I'm sure that there's people out there that have done it just for attention, but a majority of the people that I've met, people that I've seen, talked to, even celebrities like Elliot Page, you don't come out of the closet as transgender for anyone else. You come out of the closet as transgender for yourself.
Right.
340 people worldwide this year that we know for sure it was a hate crime have been killed for being transgender. That's this year alone. 340 people being dragged out of their homes in some countries and set on fire in the street. Like, you don't come out as transgender and ask for that target on your back unless you're genuine about it. Right. Typically.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, nobody wakes up and just goes like, geez, I want my life to get substantially worse and harder in every fucking possible aspect.
I don't want to be able to get a job, and I want everyone to try to kill me.
Right.
Well, that's the argument we always say about, like, when people, like, just wake up and decide to be gay.
Right. That whole...
I was just curious if there were people that, or if you had actually met anyone that was doing it because it was becoming fashionable or whatever. It was cool, quote unquote cool.
No, everyone that I've met are
probably definitely not in a place like this. I don't know if you might see that in like a more somewhere out west. I was just curious because I'm
sure it happens more so like out west and California areas and stuff like that.
Yeah, the numbers go up. Mm-hmm. So the odds are greater. But yeah, I don't know that anybody does that around here. Like, I don't think anybody's trying to get that kind of attention You know what I mean? Like there's
now I did go to
so
high
many
school
people
with a
that are
girl
actively
that
hiding it. They're not like.
I went to high school with a girl that said that she was gay and she was doing it for attention.
Oh yeah, but chicks do that all the time. They'll just make out with each other because it gets dudes aroused and interested in them.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like it's fashionable for girls to be into each other. I don't know. I remember like back in high school, like there were no gay people. Like nobody was gay. Nobody was out.
No, they were around. We just didn't know.
Yeah, totally. Like they're out now.
Yeah.
I mean,
there was one we hung out with. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say there was a dude that we hung out with that we had no idea till later. At least I didn't until later.
I'm thinking now.
Oh, you know, he peed all over your sliding glass door.
Oh shit, we knew he was gay.
I didn't.
Yeah, he had told me. He asked me not to like tell anybody. But
I'm just.
I knew.
I mean, yeah.
I went through.
It was pretty fucking obvious.
But you guys are how much older than me?
A million years.
Yeah, at least.
So we went
How
through.
old are you?
26.
So
I just turned 26.
11.
So we went through different stages of high school experiences, and the world changes a lot.
Did you go to high school around here?
I went to Texas high school.
So also you went to a much bigger high school.
I did. I went to a very large high school.
I got picked on some, but it's a different type of getting picked on because we all knew each other.
It was more fun that way.
It wasn't fun, but it was also like the people that did give me shit. Like I definitely didn't hold anything against them later because it's whatever. I also never had anything like you mentioned somebody pouring milk on you, like TV bullying. I never got any of that.
I had milk. I had milk poured down my hoodie one time. I got some kids that tried to throw me into one of the trash cans behind the cafeteria. I got into fist fights. I had people try to beat me up, all just because I was gay. I had like fag written on my locker, which that's a slang term. You're not supposed to say it, but it was written on my locker. And they would call me, yeah, I can say it. They would call me like Lizzie the lesbian and just all kinds of horrible names. And we watch, which one of my friends worked for the school newspaper and did a whole entire centerpiece about the bullying that went on in Texas High because of the LGBTQ community. And I kept that paper. I've got it like at home in my memory box because I'm in it. And
were there other kids that got picked on like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is pretty rampant then. So
it was rampant. And the schools still to this day don't do anything about bullying at Texas High. I mean, you see it on like Texarkana Cheers and Jeers all the time where people are like, jeers to Texas high school. My kid's been getting bullied there for 3 years and they've done nothing about it. My kid finally spoke up and hit the kid back and now they've got ISS and this, that, and the other. And it's just, they do nothing. They have no kind of precautions whatsoever for kids that are getting bullied. Nothing exists at Texas High for that.
So if they... okay, so somebody came up and poured milk on you, right?
Yeah.
Did they get in trouble for that?
Nope. And the principal was standing right there and watched it happen.
That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty shitty.
I never went through anything like that.
No.
And then I was stuck at school all day with
milk clothes.
Milk clothes. Because it happened in the morning before class started.
Yeah, that's awful too.
And I didn't call my mom because my mom was homophobic. So I just went home in nasty chocolate milk clothes.
Bro.
Stunk like milk all day at school.
Bro, that sucks.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's this new movie that came out with Kristen Stewart.
So that's when you guys are so pissed off. It just shit like that.
Yeah. So this new movie that just came out with Kristen Stewart, it's called The Happiest Season. Have you guys watched that or seen anything about it?
That doesn't sound like anime at all.
Huh?
I want to watch it.
It's really good.
Brooke, stop. You scared the shit out of me.
Spooky bitch.
You fucking spoopy.
It's about Kristen Stewart. Her character is dating this other woman, and the woman that she's dating's family is having like Christmas, and she invites Kristen Stewart to come with her to Christmas. But then when they're on their way there, she like pulls the car over and she's like, I have to tell you something. My parents don't know we're dating. I haven't come out of the closet. they think that you're just my roommate who's orphaned and has no friends, and like you're going to be staying in a separate room.
I think I've actually seen ads for that movie now that you mentioned
This is On the Way There?
On the Way There. So they get there and it's a really,
seems like something
really
you
good
might
movie.
say before they get in the car.
It's a really good movie that touches on what we were talking about earlier in the LGBTQ community, how there's privilege even within that.
Right.
Kristen Stewart, her character, her parents, they're dead. They died when she was 19, but they accepted her. When she came to them when she was like 14, her character in the story.
Right,
they were accepted her, and they
yeah.
told her, like, I love you, and we love you, and we'll be there for you no matter what. There's this amazing scene towards the end of the movie, spoiler alert, where she, like, runs out of the house, and the girl's been exposed by the sister, and it's just this whole thing. The family's all arguing and fighting, and they're, like, political leaders in that town, and, like, this can't get out type shit. And Kristen Stewart just takes off, and her gay best friend that drove all the way there to pick her up and take her home, he follows her outside, and he's talking to her, and he says, what did your parents say to you when you came out? And she's like, that they love me and they'd always love me. And he said, unfortunately, that's not the story for every person that's gay.
Right.
He's like, I haven't talked to my family in almost 10 years. He's like, your parents may be dead, but they loved you. Some of us don't get that. And it's that really sad moment. And that movie made me cry so hard because I was on the other side of it.
Right. Yeah, I never had to come out to my parents that I was straight.
The first time...
I don't know. Didn't your mom think we were gay for a while?
There was one instance, yeah.
It's a fair assumption.
The first time me being gay really got brought up was when I was like 16 or 17 years old, and my mom, no privacy whatsoever, went through my phone and held me up by my throat up against the wall, choked me, and then threw me out the front door. It was in the middle of winter, and it was storming and raining. I had no shoes on, and I just started walking.
Cheese and fucking crackers, bro.
Right.
I just took off walking, and my grandma happened to pull up as I was leaving the driveway. Because we had a long driveway.
Yeah, cheese and crackers indeed.
This is just more evidence to reinforce the fact that I've had the most banal fucking life.
Right. Well, I'm just thinking, like, it's just this concept that like, it's a choice. You know, as if somehow that's what would make it wrong.
Because you wanted that.
Like,
I mean, you decided to, like, you know what? Life's boring.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it on hard mode. I need that trophy.
achievement unlocked. Get thrown out by mom.
Yeah.
In a storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That is brutal.
I mean, some people have it worse than I do. At least I didn't get the shit beat out of me for it.
Right.
There are people out there that get the shit beat out of them when their parents find out that they're gay, and they just try to beat it out of them. And I had a friend that happened to in high school, came back to school with a black eye, and it's because his dad popped him because he told him he was gay. And then he wound up getting kicked out. I don't know the relationship with him and his dad now. It could have changed like me and my parents, but...
It's hard to come back from getting punched out by your dad, though.
Yeah.
That's a pretty tough one to come back from.
You're going to have to rebuild a bridge.
Right? Because you burnt that fucker down. Ugh. What a,
This is I'm the same way. I'm trying to think of what
it's a lot to process, man.
Because this is much heavier than stuff we normally go into.
Right.
I mean, y'all knew what you were expecting when you asked me to come on.
I mean, we told you that we were very ill prepared as well.
What's your take on the surgeries? Like the what is it, gender corrective surgeries? Is that what they're called?
That's actually the proper term for it now.
Score.
So they used to call it like just trans surgery and stuff like that.
Right.
But now it's called gender confirming surgery. I mean, eventually I want to have top surgery, and I made a booby bucket list of things I want to do. Yeah, things I want to do before I chop them off, like flash my tits at Mardi Gras and tits out on a boat, skinny dipping.
See, that's privilege. I never had that option.
And then after I have surgery, I want to redo the photo shoots, but with like my scars.
Right on, man.
You should get them to give you an extra scar too, like a cool one, like that goes at an angle.
And then I'll crush your eye.
If I have to have surgery on because I was in my car wreck that I've told you guys about back in August, I have to see a surgeon on the 11th in January, and they're gonna evaluate my chest and see if I have to have surgery because I have a crack in my sternum. So if that happens, I'll have just one straight down the middle, and then I'll have the two on the side. So I'll be a giant T. I will be trans man. Just have a giant T across my chest.
Nice.
Thinking of that, I do know someone that's had what's the proper term? Is it reassignment?
Gender confirming surgery.
Like dick off or dick on?
That was an airball. I don't get any points. But this person had...
I'm revoking your points from earlier.
I didn't have any. I'm negative.
Negative points.
Negative. This is like Jeopardy. I have negative.
I'm so winning. This is sidekick behavior, bud. What's going on?
The LGBT people are going to come to my house afterwards and take it out of my ass. No, I knew her when she was still a woman. I think I've only met him once as a dude.
Okay, so right there, what you just did by using the old,
I said it was
calling him her, that to a lot of people who are transgender is considered disrespectful.
How do you respectfully say that?
So, like, I will use Elliot Page as a perfect example. Elliot Page recently came out as transgender, and it's been all over the media.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys have noticed how the media has done it, but they have not dead named him, and they have not used his old pronouns at all. They're just Elliot Page, known for his starring roles in Juno and Umbrella Academy, has recently come out as transgender, and that's the proper way that you refer. You use something that identifies them, but you try to avoid their dead name and you try to avoid their old pronouns.
What do you do in the situation where someone doesn't know them after they've changed?
So you would just say he's transgender.
Yeah.
And that's...
So what would I say
if they even want people to know that they're transgender? Some transgender people don't want to be introduced as transgender at all.
Well, I'm not on a familiar basis with this person. This has more.
Yeah, I get that.
This has more to do with he was a real piece of shit when I knew him, and maybe I hope that this changed his life, but it had zero to do with his orientation. He was just a fucking piece of shit.
Assholes in every camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, that's true. There's always going to be bad apples.
He's had the surgery and all that, and I think like hormone therapy.
Yeah,
he has like a beard and everything now, like the whole shebang.
And there's it goes. I don't know the
such bullshit because I can't grow a fucking beard. That's privilege. That's privilege.
It's because you need the hormone therapy. You need like a half surgery.
I guess nobody's telling me I can't have hormone therapy.
You need a half confirmation because you're half a girl. Is that bad? Is it okay to make fun of him?
I thought it was funny.
I mean, well, it's all in good fun. I don't know the statistics on it, but I know that a lot of people who are transgender usually have some forms of mental health problems. I have borderline personality disorder. I know 2 other assigned female at birth people who are now males who also have borderline personality disorder. There's not like a direct link, like every person who's transgender has borderline personality disorder, but it does affect a large number of people who are transgender.
It's like a disproportionately large like percentage.
Do you think that other people that don't care about transgender people use that as like a weapon? Be like, oh, there's something. Of course, there's something wrong with you. That's why you think that way.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is used as a weapon a lot. Even my own family has done that to me. Like, well, you have mental health problems. Of course, you think you're someone else. It happens a lot.
I'm not surprised.
Why do you think that there is, or do you have any ideas on why there is such a high percentage of personality disorder in the?
Because of the social constructs that we're required to follow.
You think so? That's just like a psychologically damaging thing that happens because of
society.
That makes sense.
A lot of people have... So borderline personality disorder isn't like a genetic trait. It's a learned personality disorder.
So it's like a conditioned... That kind of makes sense. Like, I mean, if you feel like you're a man and you're in a woman's body and your whole life is spent suppressing that...
It causes you to develop depression, anxiety. Right. You have problems making social connections. Like you'll have problems with your interpersonal relationships, blowing them up a lot.
Right.
Those are common symptoms of borderline personality disorder, but it's also things that people in the LGBT community deal with. That
actually makes sense.
Sidebar. Is it not really hard to say? Because when you get to the Q and you try to say community, do they just run? It feels like they always run together.
Yeah,
every time I try to say it.
The TQ?
LGBTQ community.
LGBTQ community.
Yeah, it kind of just word salads together.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, there was another thing I was going to ask you. I've noticed there's a lot of transgender people in like the speedrunning community in video games.
Is there?
There's a lot. I see quite. I've seen a lot that have been prevalent whenever they have like.
Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah.
There was this. I cannot remember.
Trans community is really good at speedrunning video games.
I cannot remember. I believe her is her pronoun, her they or her pronouns. I'm not sure. I can't remember her name. Her username, like her gamer tag, is like Magic Pixel Girl. I think if that's wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, she's apparently very famous in that community, so it's not like I'm doxing someone. But she was saying that she was a plus, in that the plus was a thing, and that there were multiple people. She was more than one person, and that Magic Pixel Girl, was her gamer tag, is someone that inhabits her body with her.
Okay, that sounds like she has DID.
See, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Whenever she said that, I was like, because it was during a panel about what people, like trans people, have to face in the gaming community in general. And when she said that, I was like, are you not just coming out and saying that you have multiple personalities or dissociative identity disorder? Because that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like that's a part of that. That should be labeled on a part of that spectrum of like LGBTQ+.
That sounds like it's a whole nother can of worms. I have a friend.
Got it. She gets fuck. I'm so goddamn sorry.
It's okay.
He gets point. I'm sorry.
I
get all my points taken away, man. You get all my fucking coupons back in.
You get a straight coupon. We get to hand them out too.
I don't want that.
But
that one feels
dissociative identity disorder. I have a friend who has that, and he struggles with it. He takes medication, and it's multiple personality disorder. But now the proper term for it is dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah, people used
that the other day, actually.
I can't remember how long ago they changed it, but people used to just say multiple personality, and they would link it with like schizophrenia a lot too. But DID is actually like it's what's in the DSM. Also, I might have to research that. But I know the plus thing that she was saying that she was multiple people was I'm 90%
Are you sure she's not talking about polyamory?
No. She was saying that she
is two identities.
I've never heard that.
She will say Sally. I don't think that's her name, and Sally is one being, and then Magic Pixel Girl is another being, and they inhabit the same body, and she is fluid between whichever one is controlling. I'll have to look up that panel at some point to make sure, because I could be butchering this, and I apologize if I am. I'm going to look it up later to confirm that, but
You have a corrections corner?
I'm 90... No, fuck. We will occasionally run retractions. We don't have to do that. We're fucking white straight dudes.
Right.
You do whatever we want.
I think that's just like I don't think that's a plus on that. Like you were saying, like I don't think that's on that spectrum. I think that's just a mental disorder.
I'm 90% sure that this is what she was referring to, but I think
she's just mistaken.
I don't tell her that.
Well, I mean, I don't want to fight about it or anything. I'm just saying I don't.
This is the type of person that
is that part of the plus? Is that?
That was what I was wondering about, but it seems like it's her own bullshit to me.
I've never heard people say that multiple personality disorder or DID was part of the LGBTQ community.
Right. What about child amory, or what was it they were calling that?
A few months ago, yeah, they were trying to like.
Was that really a thing?
Pedophiles were trying to get their foot in the door. They were trying to get.
Okay, I know exactly.
In the trunk of the car.
I know exactly what you guys are talking about, and that has never been supported by the LGBTQ community. It's considered.
So.
I'm sure
it's considered absolutely disgusting, even from people that are in the LGBTQ community, to do anything with or to a child. It's not okay under any circumstances. The flyers that you guys are talking about that were passed around were actually made by cis white het males who were trying to. Yeah, the Pride Boys. It was made basically by the Pride Boys as a way to diminish the name of the LGBTQ community.
See, I always felt like that probably was something to do with it, because I don't think that actual pedophiles would be so willing to be that
come out and be
open about it and try to, like, I guess, throw this Hail Mary that maybe they can get this under this umbrella.
Right.
And then I would never think that anyone in that community would be like, yeah, come on. I feel like they would be ready to stomp them out just as much as anyone else.
Fuck yeah.
Because they're fucking pedophiles. They get the ghetto.
They get the ghetto, man. Eggnog drinking bitches.
Fucking A.
Fuck it. Fuck them. God, fuck them. Alright, so the surgery thing. That's as far as you're going? Tits off?
That's as far as I personally want to go with it.
You don't want to do dick on?
No.
Why not?
It has to do with my own personal reasons.
I was about to say, if that's too personal, you don't have to answer
I mean,
that.
there are people out there like that go and have bottom surgeries. The surgeries...
That's a better way to say that.
That's the proper term is bottom
way
surgery.
Better way to say that.
There are people out there that go and get bottom surgery. And I mean, I know someone who's going to have bottom surgery that I've talk to sometimes. I'm not going to say his name, but it's somebody that I'm friends with on Facebook that lives in a state where it's way more open, and he has already had top surgery. He's been on hormone therapy for like 2 years. He grows a beard and his face is more masculine. He's going to have bottom surgery eventually. That's his personal choice. The reason I personally don't want to have bottom surgery is the reward is not worth the risk, in my opinion. You might,
I think that's fair,
wind up with a dick that works, but you also wind up not having any sexual pleasure for the rest of your life. And I like sex, so.
Do you think so? Is he going to have them craft him like the most perfect dick ever? Like,
right? Oh,
because
you get, and then talk about goddamn privilege. To like flip open a catalog and like, I want that dick right there.
It's really just what they have to work with, because a lot of times they use skin and stuff off your own body. It's what you're willing to have cut and moved.
Oh, they can't just like use like silicone or whatever just to craft something like.
No, most of it's all done with parts of your body. Skin grafts, and it's painful. A lot of times people just get the most basic of basics.
That's not, that doesn't,
and then
that's nothing like I thought.
I mean, I can go into real detail if you guys want to NSFW this.
Yeah, go
this whole thing, nothing in this.
No, I'm actually curious about this. Yeah,
what it is they take, so when they go in to do surgery, they take.
I'm gonna hear this.
They take the clit and all the nerves endings that are in the clit, and they basically stretch them out as far as they can from the lips of the vagina. Sew the lips of the vagina up, move the urinary tract and stuff forward to where it's basically just a tube shape.
It's painful.
It's very painful. It's like a 15-week recovery time. Recovery time on top surgery is like 10 to 15 weeks also. And they tell you, like, before you have top surgery, make sure you have button-down shirts to put on, because you can't lift your hands above your head because you'll pop your stitches open. Ooh. And it's how much pain are you willing to go through to really have those gender-confirming surgeries is up to each individual person. There's a lot of transgender people out there that never have bottom surgery. It's way more common than people think it is.
I thought that was more common.
When people think transgender, they automatically jump to the assumption that every single transgender person wants to have gender confirming surgery, but that's just not true.
Yeah.
Some of them don't even ever take
honest, that's what I
hormones. Some of them don't ever even take hormones. I haven't started any form of hormone therapy. I want to start in the next year. That's like one of my New Year, New Me. I want to try to get on T. But
Me too.
Me too.
I mean, if I don't do it this year, it's not the end of the world for me either.
Maybe then I could grow a beard.
You don't need to take tea. You need to take tea boosters, like the stuff you see commercials for on TV.
No, we need that. We need that stuff from the guy in the corner of the gym
The fanny pack.
with the fanny
with
pack.
the Zumba pants.
Yeah, he knows he's got the good stuff.
He's got the good shit. Got your gains right here. The Zumba? Is that it? Zumba pants?
I think so.
Zubaz.
Zubaz pants.
Zubaz,
Zubaz pants. That's what they are.
I want some of them.
Sorry, we will derail into lifting weights the first chance we get.
Yeah.
That's
It does
okay.
not matter the topic.
Right.
Do you even lift, bro?
Brooke left one time to go to the bathroom, and we just started talking about doing deadlifts.
I think we're doing that now. We gotta quit. We gotta
Okay, sorry.
It's happening.
on topic, yeah. Alright, so they get a hold of your clit with some pliers and stretch that fucker out.
I mean, basically, yeah.
And they yoink your pussy lips out.
No, they sew the lips up.
They sew them up. Mm-hmm. So you just got a clit hanging out, pussy lips sewed up.
We're in some dark Eldar shit.
Right? Fuck. Yeah, you gotta want it.
Female gender confirming surgery is even more painful than for male confirming.
I don't know that I want to hear this one.
I do.
So with female confirming gender surgery, they take the dick and they basically splice it open from top to bottom, and they rearrange the urinary tract, and they basically build you your own clit out of like the head of the penis nerves.
So I could have.
Okay.
I can't have the dick I want.
But
I can't have
it's
the clit
the
I
same. It's the same in both categories. Whether you're going male to female or female to male, you run the risk of never having sexual pleasure for the rest of your life.
That's some real dedication.
I've also heard. Sorry, I totally just busted.
You're gonna have to
No, no,
speak
that's
up if you're
fine.
here too.
I have heard that you have to go through a lot of psychological evaluations to even be considered for surgery. I know that a lot of doctors do make you go through that. Is that true?
It depends on where you're at.
Okay.
Like some places, yes, you do have to go through extensive therapy, and that's kind of what we were talking about earlier with the conversion therapy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A lot of times they'll make you go to therapy before they'll allow you to have gender confirming surgery. In some states, it's
Like
required.
mini sessions,
I think that's-
or
I
just
think
like
that's-
a couple?
Sometimes they make you go for over a year before they'll allow you to even start hormone therapy. It's that serious. In some states, it's like that. I think Texas is one of those states. But my therapist is already on board with my gender
So you're
confirmation
basically
stuff.
just running the clock out.
Yeah, I just got to find a doctor that's willing to write the prescription for tea. I've already been doing therapy since I was like 19.
Let us know. Find them.
Right?
The first step was getting insurance, which I am getting in January.
Right on.
Nice.
Yeah. I think I'm for the therapy. Like I think that's probably a really good idea. It's like evaluate.
Yeah, because it
Make
shouldn't
sure.
be like a knee-jerk thing. Like, this
Well-
week I really feel strongly about this. And then, like,
Yeah.
a week after, it's like, oh, I fucked up. I'm going to kill myself.
Right.
But it's a lot more complicated than that because the surgeries are very expensive and most insurance companies won't cover gender confirming surgery. Top surgery by itself, the base starter price is like 10 grand.
It's about how much it is to get them put in, isn't it?
No.
It's a little less.
At the $3 to $6 grand, I think, is about what you run to get a pair of tits.
That's not so bad.
I don't know if that's what it costs to put a tits on a dude
Right.
or someone who is. You know what I mean. I'm not being an asshole here.
It's okay.
on a person
Steadily losing
on a
weight.
person who would like to acquire them. How about that?
Yeah, you got it.
I'm good at this.
I don't know. I like the idea of therapy. I think it's sort of like this is new. This is new. This is a new area. You know, like we're kind of just now dipping our toe in, and I think it would behoove us to be really cautious and take care of one another. You know, make sure keep each other safe.
Yeah. I mean, I agree to the therapy to some degree.
Yeah,
I
me
think that
too.
people should be able to start hormone treatments whenever they want. Because you can get off hormone treatment. That's reversible. I mean, it does have long-term lasting effects if you start on hormones. It can affect you, but it also is reversible to a degree.
But it's like, I understand that. I mean, it shouldn't be as hard to get on that. That's not quite the same as lopping your tits off.
Yeah.
Right. That's a bit more...
but who's going to save up that much money to get that done just to do it?
Exactly.
That's true, but you would probably also be surprised.
And then
I wouldn't want that to be like our that to be the gate that we're keeping. Is like, how much money do you got? I would rather it be like, well, let's talk about this, with a professional, and let's make sure this is what you want to do, why you want to do it, you understand what this entails, and what is going to happen, and to an extent. I think a year seems a bit excessive.
Well,
but like you were saying, like, it just wouldn't want to catch them on a strong day.
Yeah.
And then, I don't like money being the threshold there.
Unfortunately, it is for a lot of people.
You can't ignore that.
There's another thing that doesn't get discussed even within the LGBT community as much as it needs to, and that's people that are born like hermaphrodites. Mm-hmm. It's actually way more common than people realize it is. It's like 1 in 100 babies are born.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
I looked this up the other day.
I thought it was like 1 in like 50,000.
No, it's way more common. So I actually know someone. I'm not going to say their names because we're not close. We're not really even friends. But someone that I know that lives in this area was born with dick, balls, vagina, and ovaries.
Is it bad that I want them to be friends? So
parents decided that they were going to make him a girl, chopped the extra parts off because that's the easiest way to deal with babies that are born that way. So he was raised
not
as...
realizing mentally that it could be the complete opposite.
Exactly, and that's what happened with this person. So they were raised female, had a female name.
Holy shit.
And then once they hit the age of puberty, they just went the other direction and started growing beards. And
without any kind of hormones, right?
Without hormones.
So they picked the wrong one.
And that's another thing that's not discussed a whole lot. It's kind of a taboo subject. Like, if my kid is born with multiple genders, I'm not going to run and tell people that. Like, that's the outlook that the world has. So they just do the quick fix. And they're like, just chop off those extra parts or sew up that pussy. And I've got a son or a daughter. And they pick for the kid. When in reality, the way that it should be is that you leave it alone until they hit puberty. And then you let the kid decide themselves.
Yeah, but what will the neighbors think? They're going to find out.
Man, fuck them neighbors. Mind their own goddamn business.
Well, of course, but I mean, this is the thought process, I'm sure. Like, man, if they find out at church, they'll never eat my potato salad ever again.
I know, and that's the unfortunate, truth that there is, and that's something that's not discussed a lot in the LGBTQ community, even to this day. Those intersex people that are born, and it's not always that they're born with multiple genitalia. Sometimes they're just born with an extra chromosome. It doesn't make them Down syndrome. They just might have an XYY or a XXY or something like that, where they should be male, but they are female presenting. Like, they've got tits and vagina, and it also goes even deeper than that into mosaic brain patterns and the way that the brain processes information. So, brain scans. Mm-hmm. You can read a brain scan. There are people out there that are trying to read brain scans, and the way that the brain is set up and the way that you think when you're asked certain questions and stuff like that. Studies have shown that people who identify as transgenders, their brain works the same as the gender that they're saying that they are rather than the gender that their body says that they are. And their mosaic brain patterns, like mine, would probably register as male if I went and got a brain scan done and they asked me specific questions to trigger parts of my brain and they read it like this MRI. Mosaic brain patterns are a big thing that it's used in transgender research too.
I feel like with a lot of stuff, when it comes to things like that, it's obvious that there's just so much more that we don't really understand and we're constantly learning, especially with things like that you can look at it. Like, you can take an MRI or whatever, a CAT scan, whatever it takes to view that, and then get evidence that, this works differently. People are too willing to think that we know everything there is worth knowing right now at this present moment in time. And that if you're not on this side of the line, then you're just some kind of dissenter for no reason other than you have nothing better to do.
Well, I mean, humans resist change, and a very large mass majority of humans just reject the science that comes with it. They're like, you can make anything whatever you want with science if you run enough tests, and they just completely ignore that side of it.
Right. It's 1.7%, by the way, so it's more than 1 in 100.
Okay.
It's almost
close to 2.
Almost 2 in 100.
I would have never thought it was that many.
I knew that it was a really high number.
I assumed that was this hyper rare thing, 1 in a million type thing.
No,
that's what I thought.
And that's what I'm saying. It's so tabooed. People don't know the information on it. They never look it up. I would have never looked that information up and learned anything about people that were born intersex if I hadn't met the person that I met that lived here in town that was like that.
So intersex is the proper term.
Intersex is the proper term.
What was it? We were looking up, thinking about words that were outdated. I think it was on that gender.
Yeah, cross-dresser.
According to Google
says that's fine.
Cross-dresser.
Cross-dressing is a used term in the LGBT.
How did it last so long?
Bullshit! I'm fucking banning it.
How did
I've got a friend that lives here in town who's a cross-dresser.
I'm just still.
You can't say that word anymore. I'm taking that down. I'm canceling it.
I'm so confused on how cross-dresser has stood the test of time when everything else seems like it gets replaced so fast. But
if there's another term out there for cross-dresser, I personally have not heard it yet.
We looked this up maybe 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, it said that was it.
And that was what Google said as of a month or so ago, and I'm just still baffled. Because there's so many other words that were appropriate at a certain time, even stuff that didn't seem like it was disingenuous. Maybe it was just what people used. I think we used the way that Negro used to be the way to refer to African Americans.
Yeah.
Because even Martin Luther King used that word.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't think you would want to call a black person that nowadays. You probably get probably get twisted tea upside your face to be topical.
Oh my God, wasn't that grand?
God, that is
hey, that dude had it coming to him. He deserved that.
Dude, he literally asked for it. He literally asked him
Smack me! Smack me! He just...
And that fucking sound, whenever he cracked him with it...
Skadoosh!
It was like... It's almost like someone put that in post.
Right.
I bet they're loving that promotion.
Twisted Tea CEO sitting back drinking a Twisted Tea right now.
Nah, he doesn't drink that shit. He's stupid for that. He drinks.
He only drinks them to celebrate things like this, though.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't want to get surgery either. That sounds fucking awful.
You don't know. Shut up.
I know.
No, you don't know.
I know. My mind is made up. I would not want to go through that.
No, you don't know. You haven't lived that life, so you don't know. It might change your mind.
I do. I personally know.
Fair point.
I personally know that since I came out
but I would never fuck a donkey. Sorry.
Since I came out in August, I've been in just a totally different mindset.
Right.
I've had friends and family members just completely walk away since I've come out of the closet as transgender. My stepdad hasn't talked to me since I came out of the closet as trans at all. We went to dinner the other night, and small talk, but he didn't even hardly talk the whole time. He just sat there in silence.
I don't know, man. That's a...
Do you think it's just because is it because he disapproves, or is it because it's like he doesn't know? He feels like he doesn't know what to say. Or
I feel like he doesn't know what to say. I like to think that that's what it is, because that night that I told you guys I got thrown out of the house,
right? That
I was held up by my throat by my mom and then thrown out. He come running down the stairs and pulled her off of me. And then they got into a fight. I could hear them screaming at each other from their bedroom. And he's like, your best friend in high school was gay. You can accept that, but you can't accept your kid.
Right.
He defended me that night. So I like to think that it's just that he doesn't understand. But he doesn't understand.
He's just a little awkward about it.
He also doesn't understand that his lack of saying anything about it
hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it's not malicious.
Right.
Well, because that's one of those, like, it's a conversation that needs to happen, you know, and not being able to feel like you can have that, I would imagine that would suck.
And then I got dead named all through Christmas. That was horrible.
I'm lucky I've only met you as Danny.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Right.
just dumb. It's not malicious. I'm just a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Right. Because if we probably have hard enough. I mean, we're probably still gonna say she or her occasionally.
Well, like
even though we don't mean it.
like my
I'll
roommate.
get used to it, I think.
Well, for a little, like I said, for a little bit. I mean, we've both done it within the time
Oh,
we've sat down.
yeah. Well, again,
I mean, it's a lot harder because I'm still female presenting, but as I start testosterone and I look more like a man, it'll be easier.
I kind of feel like that doesn't really matter. Like, in my mind, it's like you're he, him.
Yeah.
So,
Them.
I mean, like, that's easy enough. You know, like,
Yeah.
it's going to take me a minute, but, like, I'm, like, that's easy enough. That's enough reason. Like,
And a lot of things that people don't understand is they think that if, like, you've done it several times tonight, you've done it several times tonight. I haven't got mad at either one of you because it's about
thank you.
the
For
effort.
fuck's sake, so much thank you.
For me personally, which is not for every trans person, there are some that are like, no, you got it wrong, and they're like mean about correcting. I'll give you like 3 slip-ups. If you don't correct yourself after 3, I'm correcting you. That's my personal feelings on it. Like, you guys know at this point, you guys mostly self-correct, which is a great step. That means eventually you'll hit the point where you don't have to self-correct.
I mean,
Right.
we try to.
Self-correcting is one of the first steps that you have to get people to start giving you the proper pronouns. A lot of times I have to correct people and I'll be like, he,
Well,
him.
kudos to you for being, like, patient and allowing.
Right.
We talked about that, about how, like, I think people should have a safe environment to come out, and I think that also that environment should include people that have to adjust, and that there should be, like, everybody has to process the whole thing,
Right.
and that should be safe both ways.
In the perfect world, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, inappropriate.
But I mean, we like,
should be. It's
Should
not
be.
always, and probably rarely is. But
I mean, we. I hope we try to self-correct as much as we can. I don't want anyone to feel. I mean, I definitely don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. But I think some people are hesitant to do things like that because they feel like. I feel like they think it would be pandering. In some ways, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I heard Ben Shapiro was like he has the phrase, what was it? Don't ask me to participate in your delusion. And I think that pretty much just sums up that whole mentality. It's just
Right.
like, that's bleak. That's bleak, because that is a belief. Like, there's not evidence enough to change his mind. It's that saying, to the believer, no evidence is needed. To the skeptic, no evidence can be presented. So I think there's like just this large contingent of people that are otherwise, like, logical and sound of mind, reasonable people that are just completely fucking closed off,
Right.
to any sort of acceptance, whatsoever. Like, they're offended that you would ask them to please accept, and that's I think we're kind of at the point where we just have to, like, live that down. Like, it just has to die off eventually.
Well,
hopefully.
I think, like you mentioned that, like, the Gen Z is doing a lot of work with that. I feel like
Yeah.
it's going to get to the point where things will plane out, and hopefully, if not in our, it would almost guarantee it's not going to be in our lifetimes, but hopefully it will get to a point where all of this is just a non-issue. It's as much of an issue as we have with, like, justifying being straight.
Right.
Some people are going to sit there and say they have to these days, but I think those are people that just want fucking attention.
What, that they have to justify being straight?
Like, yeah, like it's a...
Who the fuck has ever in the history of mankind had to justify
I can
being
almost
straight?
guarantee you that there are people out there that feel like they're attacked for being straight.
There are people out there that exist, and Ben Shapiro is one of them. I've seen some of his YouTube videos that he's done.
He's hit and miss with me. I agree with some of what he says. Some of the shit I'm just like.
But he's one of those types that he feels like he probably has to.
Alex Jones.
Who's that?
Oh, you don't know if you don't know.
Yeah. Check him out. Alex Jones.
The water's turning the frogs gay.
There's actually something behind that, though. It was like the polluted river. That was like, they weren't gay. They were, because some frogs can change their gender.
Yeah.
And that's what it was causing. It was the pollutants in the river that was causing them to do that. But Alex Jones, in his mind, he was like, it turned them gay. So, I mean, there was something to, he was just left of right on that.
Holy shit, bro.
Yeah, that dude's fucking nuts.
Do you ever, I'm sure you've probably ran into people in your life where people that are, there's no talking to this brick wall. You know, it's
my grandmother.
It's apparent immediately. It's like, okay, this is a losing battle, and I'm not going to just.
I don't argue with my grandma. She still dead names me. My mother's mom. She's very Christian. Ever since I came out of the closet as gay, it's just almost every conversation that gets brought up. Well, that's what the Bible this and the Bible that, and you're going to go to hell because you like to sleep with women. And I haven't even talked to her about the transgender thing. She probably saw that I changed my name on Facebook, and it's just never been brought up. She's there for me. She supports me. She helps take care of me. She's the one who's taking me to my surgery appointment in January.
One of those love the sinner, hate the sin types.
Yeah,
in her mind.
But she's the same way with me that she is with my cousin, who's also transgender, Eden. And when Eden came out, she said that she refused to call Eden Eden, and that she would still always call her by her dead name. And so that's just a battle that I know is not worth fighting.
Is there some weird mixed emotions with that once you decide not to fight about it anymore? Even because you said she is there for you when you need her.
So you have a relationship.
We kind of she'll try to talk about it, and it's like a boundary. I'm like, I won't talk about that kind of stuff with you. You can have me around and enjoy my company, but that's not something I'm willing to discuss with you anymore.
Right.
We've had the same discussion a million times over and over. It's the same outcome. I tell you, I'm not changing. You're not going to change my mind. You can't change my mind. Just stop. And she gets real heated into the argument every now and then, and she'll try to, and I'll just leave. And she'll call me the next day and tell me she's sorry.
Yeah.
But she's so conflicted with her religion.
Right.
Because of her religious views on it. She wants to accept me, but she can't because of her religious beliefs. And this is a perfect example of why I think that she wants to accept me, but she can't. When I got married to my ex-wife, she didn't come to the wedding.
Right.
10 minutes before I walked down the aisle, she called my uncle and asked if we had already started. And he said, yeah, it's already started. She's about to walk down the aisle. Or he's about to walk down the aisle. Look, I even just did it to myself.
See. Oh, we get a free one. We get a free one.
No, just loses one.
No.
But she called my uncle, and he told her that it was about to start, and there was no way that she was gonna be able to make it in time for the wedding. And she called me the next day crying, just bawling her eyes out, and said that she was sorry that she missed her first grandchild getting married because she couldn't look past the religious standpoint of it. Right. And she regretted it. She told me she regretted not coming.
I worked at this nursing home for a really long time, and there was a lesbian couple there. And this is in BFE fucking nowhere. It's a very small town. It's a very small nursing home. And a lot of people that work there are related. And I always got the feeling that they tolerated them, but it's because they viewed them those are our gay friends. They have possession of them. Also, it's because I know that those two they were still religious. They are Christians, even though
which I am still religious. And I'm also a witch. We're not going into all that.
What? Wait, time out on my story too. I have another question. Is witch not a female term?
It is not. Witch is considered a non-binary term.
I thought
warlocks only exist in movies. That's not a real thing. There are men witches.
WYTCH.
But don't them? He says like, don't they call what's her face a witch? What's her name? Hermione in the Harry Potters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Warlocks only exist in movies.
But they call the dudes wizards.
Yeah, wizards and warlocks aren't real terms. It's just cinematic.
A witch, WYTCH, is a man who practices witchcraft.
But warlock sounds cooler.
I mean, it does, yeah.
You should take it back.
What, warlock?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I would.
I mean, there are people that identify as warlocks, too.
Wait a minute. Like real ones? Like movie ones?
I don't know. I know that it's a term that's used in the pagan community sometimes.
I identify as a Grey Knight.
I want to go to a ritual. Throw a fireball.
Throw a fireball.
Witch, throw a fireball.
No, it doesn't work like that.
I was about to say, if you can...
It's mostly reaching into the other plane.
If you can, I will sign up. If I could figure out how to throw a fireball, I would.
Well, shit, give me a lighter and give me some alcohol. I'll give you a fireball.
No, I need a Dragon Ball fireball. I need a real one. I would quit my job in a heartbeat if someone showed me that could be done, and I'd spend the rest of my life. Sorry. Okay, so that whole tangent aside, like I said, they were. It's like they had possession of those people, like
like they were a trinket.
The token,
like they're the token gays. Like they're okay because they identify with us. They're Christians like we are, even though they're lesbians, but there's still whispers about like, oh, did you hear so and so she came out, she's fooling around with whatever. That's how I met the dude I was talking about that transitioned. He was I'm trying to do this about. It's so hard. I so badly keep wanting to say like he was still she back then. Yeah. Because it's just the only way I know to explain that. Because I feel like for some reason I feel like it needs to be explained.
You can say like things like pre-transition.
So that's where I knew him pre-transition. Yeah. And that's part of the reason that I did not fucking like him. That's how I know he's fucking, at least was, a piece of shit. Yeah. But yeah, it's like they have this weird like you're okay because you're with us. But any of these other gay people better fuck off because they're fucking heathens,
Exactly. That unfortunately happens a lot with gay people. Not just gay people that identify as Christian, but just gay people in general. Yeah. Like they're okay because they're my friend and I've known him since we were kids. But that guy over there, he's not cool. And another thing that I don't understand is why do all like straight white men, when they meet a gay guy, they're always like, he's gonna hit on me. I don't understand that.
We have talked about this at length I'm pretty sure on here, definitely in other places. Like, listen, I don't know where people get that idea.
Nobody wants to sleep with you. You're ugly.
Women don't come on to them that way. Gay dudes are definitely not going to.
Gay dudes have higher standards than usually.
Yeah, they fucking
normal women do, and
I'd say that's
subjective. We had mentioned that
it is subjective.
We mentioned that before. It's on like a previous podcast where these guys that don't want to be around gay dudes, they're like, oh, they're gonna get me. They want me.
They're just trying to suck my dick. I gotta fight them off.
So there's a legal term that they're trying to do away with. That I mean, it's really serious. It's people that are murdered for being gay, and they call it the gay defense. And it's like, he's gay, I killed him because I thought he was going to try to rape me. And this has really worked in multiple cases that exist within the American justice system, where these men who have killed gay people said, I was scared of him because he was gay, and they got lesser charges.
The guy that went on Jenny Jones.
Yes.
For those that didn't know, Brooke just said the guy that went on Jenny Jones. You're across the house. They're not going to be able to hear you.
Okay.
For those of you that don't know, she just said, I don't care.
What a cunt.
I watch a lot of true crime.
We know you spooky bitch.
I watch a lot of true crime also. It's okay.
Yes.
I do not. That shit gets in my head.
Right?
Like, I can't watch that. It's a whole bunch of, like, just fucking rape and homicide and fucking just a bunch of fucked up shit. Just an hour of just the worst human behavior possible.
And they never really got caught for it.
Well, some of them do.
Well, later. Once they've had the chance to live their lives. I think that's it. I think if we're talking true crime, we've probably hit it. I think we did it. I think we have unified your struggle is
America.
Over.
Yeah.
As with everything we discuss on here is happy end.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a lot happier even now. With that stuff that I said where I've had people walk out of my life. I'm in a better mental place now that I'm out of the closet as transgender than I was last year. This is actually it's amazing that I came on and did this because this day last year I tried to kill myself.
Anniversary.
And I did something with it. I used this time to help educate people, even if it's just you two and nobody else ever listens to this podcast. I've educated you more on things that
I thought she was going to say I educated you more on I just
I don't disagree.
Obviously it didn't work.
Some of it stuck.
No, it didn't, because I just said she instead of he. Fuck it. I remember. I'm gonna delete this. We'll start over.
All right. America, rest easy. Chace and Hunter fixed yet another problem.
We did.
We should run for president.
No.
Co-president?
Co-president.
But not president and vice president. We're co-president.
Yeah. We also have a vice president.
Yeah, but we're co-president.
Can I be the vice president?
Sure.
Hell yeah.
Why not? Fuck it. You and a buddy, because there's two of us.
No,
each get a vice president.
No.
I'd nominate.
And then they co-president.
No, we should be co-president, and no one else gets to have that because it's ours.
Well, what happens if because I don't know which one of us is going to die first. Probably me.
It's a coin toss.
It really is. So one of us dies. What about the other one? They have to be buried. They have to get buried with the other one.
Do they get buried alive, or do they get buried in a situation where they exist, but they have to be there with them? Like a setup where like you get air and water and shit, but you have to be there.
Do you have like eternal vigil?
Something like that?
You have to go live.
Why don't you just cremate the one that died and wear it as a necklace?
No, it's not as good.
Well, one thing's for sure. You can't just have one half of us as president.
Oh, wait. The cremation idea is a good one. What you do is you get one of those services where like some people get cremated and they'll have their ashes loaded into like shotgun shells so they can go on like duck hunts. But we put it in. Yeah, dude. People excellent. Do that. That's fucking amazing.
That is so rad.
But we get that and get it loaded into buckshot, and then we go fight terrorists. The one that lives.
Which ones?
Whatever's popular at the moment.
Right. I don't know. I kind of want say so.
What do you mean you won't say so?
Well, like
you want to pick a terrorist?
Well, yeah, like ISIS is big. Like that, I want to go do that. But like, I don't want to go.
What you don't want to do? Like I don't think Al Qaeda or any of that would exist. It's like that's
like Al Qaeda at their height. Yeah, I'll go fight that. But like
yeah, but that's gone. That's gone now.
That's probably it. Just like hugely diminished.
Is it? I don't know. We don't know anything about.
There's probably pockets, but like I said, like I wouldn't want to go fight that. Like, give me a good one.
Well, there'd probably be a different one. Whatever, like I said, whatever's hot at that moment.
Yeah, just a good fight.
Yeah,
just a good fight. All right. That's Last Will and Testament.
Yeah, that has to be done now. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We will catch you next time.